The Galactic Academy floated in the serene void between stars, a marvel of architectural achievement where the galaxy's brightest young minds gathered to learn. Within its crystalline corridors, students from 100 worlds mingled, delicate ethereals whose bodies shimmered like gossamer, towering Kryn with their forearms and compound eyes, and the aquatic nereids who floated in their mobile water spheres. And then there was Usha. She sat alone in the cafeteria, her plain features unremarkable by human standards but oddly primitive to her classmates. Her world, Earthor, as it was known in Galactic Standard Deathworld Terra, had only recently been contacted. The humans were a curiosity, their planet a nightmare of extreme gravity, aggressive fauna, and evolutionary pressures that would make most species weep. "Look at her," Vextel whispered to his friends, his purple scales rippling with amusement. "The Deathworlder sits alone again. How tragic." Usha heard them. Her hearing, evolved to detect predators in Earth's dense forests, picked up every word. She simply continued eating her meal food that required special preparation. Because standard galactic cuisine lacked the proteins and minerals her body demanded, Banks noticed her from across the room. He was newer to the academy than Usha, having arrived just 2 cycles ago. Unlike her, he seemed to charm everyone effortlessly with his easy smile and quick wit. But he'd been watching Usha, sensing something in her quiet demeanor that others missed. The harassment escalated during combat theory class. Professor Killinix, a veteran Kryn warrior, assigned sparring partners. Vextel immediately volunteered to face Usha. "This should be educational," Vextel announced, his mandibles clicking with laughter. "Let's see what the primitive can do." The other students formed a circle, their excitement palpable. Usha stood in the center, her posture relaxed but her eyes alert. She'd requested to be excused from these exercises multiple times, but the professor insisted all students participate. "Begin." Professor Killinex commanded. Vextel lunged forward with impressive speed for a his claws extended, aiming for a non-lethal strike that would nonetheless humiliate the human. What happened next occurred so fast that several students' ocular organs couldn't process it properly. Usha simply wasn't there anymore. She'd moved with reflexes honed by millions of years of hunting and being hunted. Her hand caught Vextel's wrist mid-strike, and with minimal effort, she redirected his momentum. The Valerian crashed into the padded floor with a force that knocked the breath from his dual lungs. The room fell silent. Again, Vextel hissed. His pride wounded more than his body. This time, 3 of his friends joined him. They coordinated their attack, coming from multiple angles, a tactic that would overwhelm most species. Usha's response was brutal in its efficiency. She ducked, weaved, and struck with precision. Within seconds, all 4 attackers lay groaning on the floor. Professor Killinex's eyes widened with recognition. "Stop. Everyone stop." But it was too late. The secret was out. Banks approached Usha after class as she gathered her materials. "That was incredible," he said quietly. "Why didn't you defend yourself before?" Usha looked at him with tired eyes. "Because I was trying to fit in. Trying to be less human." That evening, the full story spread through the Academy's networks. Someone had accessed Usha's homeworld files, classified documents that detailed exactly what Deathworld meant. Earth's gravity was 3 times galactic standard. Its atmosphere was corrosive to most species, filled with reactive oxygen that aged cells rapidly. Its surface teemed with creatures that hunted, killed, and consumed each other in an endless cycle of violence. Humans, the files revealed, were persistent hunters-predators who chased their prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. They possessed redundant organs, bones that could heal themselves, and an immune system so aggressive it sometimes attacked their own bodies. Their minds could function through injuries that would leave other species catatonic. They could consume mild poisons for pleasure and called it spicy food. Most terrifying of all, humans bonded with other species, predators, and kept them in their homes as pets. The cafeteria was different the next day. Students gave Usha a wider berth, but it wasn't mockery anymore. It was fear mixed with respect. Vextel approached her table, his movements careful and submissive. "I apologize," he said formally. "I did not understand." Usha nodded, accepting. "You couldn't have known. We're taught to hide what we are when we leave Earth, to not scare people." Banks sat down beside her, uninvited but welcome. "That's wrong," he said firmly. "You shouldn't have to pretend to be weak." "Easy for you to say," Usha replied with a slight smile. "You're human too. You know what we're capable of." "Exactly. Which is why I know you were holding back even when you fought them." Banks leaned forward. "You could have ended that fight in half a second, couldn't you?" Usha's smile turned sad. In less than that. But I didn't come here to be a warrior. I came to learn, to build bridges between our worlds. Earth wants to join the galactic community peacefully. Professor Kilinix approached their table, his massive form casting a shadow over them both. Miss Asha, I owe you an apology. I reviewed your initial requests to be excluded from combat exercises. I should have listened. It's all right, Professor. No, it isn't. The Kryn warrior's voice was grave. I've fought in the border wars. I've seen what happens when predator species are cornered. You showed remarkable restraint today. Your control was ... masterful. Word of the incident reached the Academy's administrators. Within a week, new protocols were established. Deathworld students would be evaluated individually, their training customized to avoid incidents. More importantly, mandatory education about Earth and other high-gravity, high-danger worlds became part of the core curriculum. Asha found herself no longer isolated. Students approached her with genuine curiosity rather than mockery. They wanted to know about Earth, its strange customs, its beautiful brutality, its impossible diversity. She told them about oceans and mountains, about music and art, about how humans had looked at the stars and dreamed of reaching them despite having no natural ability for space travel. Banks became her closest friend, the only one who truly understood the weight of representing an entire world's first impression to the galaxy. Together they navigated the complex social dynamics of the Academy. To humans trying to prove that Deathworlders could be more than their evolutionary legacy. One evening, as they watched the stars through the observation deck, Asha spoke softly. Do you think they'll ever see us as more than dangerous animals? Banks considered this carefully. They already do. They see you as someone who chose mercy when violence would have been easier. That's more impressive than any display of strength. Asha smiled, genuine this time. Maybe you're right. Besides, Banks added with a grin, being a little scary has its advantages. Vextal does my homework now. She laughed, a sound that made several nearby students flinch instinctively before they caught themselves and smiled sheepishly. The bullying had stopped, not through revenge or escalation, but through understanding. Asha had shown them that humans were indeed from a Deathworld forged in fire and blood, but she'd also shown them something more important, that the greatest strength wasn't in violence, but in the choice to withhold it. Earth's children walked among the stars now, and the galaxy was learning what that truly meant.